thank you everybody for joining. Amazing time with everyone. I'm looking forward to all the deliberations. So for the CRISP formation, we two critical things happened. One, we were able to experiment or start with having conversations on Lumio posted on the All Circles channel. And so far, it's been the most engaged of all the conversations that we've posted on Lumio. And that has been quite good. I don't know if it is because it was Jan who started the conversation or it was because we were posting replies on the DF or circles. Hopefully, hopefully it is both, and hopefully both continues, maybe in better forms or ways. And so that's the first thing that happened, which is quite good. So I want to say thank you to everyone who engaged in the conversation. That's the whole point of having discussions before decisions, because then more things come to light, more things to consider, and then we have more insights concerning everything. And then, of course, over time, we hope that because of that, we're able to make very good decisions. I don't want to bore or go back all over everything that's been discussed because it's there on the channel. So this is not a repetition exercise. Now, the second thing that happened is that we now have two major considerations. So we have all seen that while we want to make sure that we carry everybody along, it takes time, right? And then just because of the fact that we don't have that time. I mean, we always have time, but it's just because the process has started. Some part of the process has started in terms of people are already submitting ideas, obviously. And then the responsible thing, naturally, for us to do as a community is to respond and get it started. And so we have to then decide to have a temporary fix while we continue to execute the more permanent process fix. And then there also now brought up the conversation that what if the temporary fix looks appealing because we are forgetting that even the supposed permanent fix is not going to be devoid of further review, right? So even if we target a let's go through the process with the whole community, we will still, have to review and reassess and then update and upgrade and things like that. And so, in a nutshell, I think that is where we are, right? To either put a temporary fix and then continue with the old processes, or hasten up the previous process where everybody's involved, with the mindset that it does not have to be perfect, right? We can always come back and redo this. So those are the two broad things. As far as update is concerned, I imagine that most people read through the conversations both on Lumio and then on the All Circles. Yeah, and I think those are just maybe two things that we can discuss briefly. And then to be candid, the design is that decision discussions will continue in parallel with all hands. It does not, all hands does not have to be the place where we come to discuss and decide and discuss and decide. I mean, we can always discuss highlights, present highlights, but decisions should be a concurrent, self-running or self-motivated process that, just the way circles decide inside circles, the community should also be able to decide in itself, So yeah, so basically that's it. That's the summary. I don't want to take so much time. There's a lot to discuss today. So thank you.
Thank you, Ayo. I think what's going to happen, everyone will be so quick because everyone sees a package agenda and we'll finish like 30 minutes before. But that's good. I think if we are able to talk about everything that matters, right? But thank you, Ayo. I've left the link for the discussion in the chat for anyone who wants to be part of it, who wants to check it out. So please do. And of course, even if you want to bring some topics and have a more live discussion, you can always create a breakout room in the town hall. You can always request some time here to make this discussion. So if you feel a live discussion would be important at any part, well, you as a community member can take that initiative and make it happen.
All right,
That's
thank you, Rafael. While I'm waiting to see if, while we are waiting to see if anyone has anything to say, I want to also quickly chip in that there's a side decision to this, is to say we now have conversations on Lumio being posted on all circles, and so should we have a channel dedicated for decision discussions where, for example, Lumio conversations can come in, or we stay within all circles, because we will not always have things to discuss. We will not always have decisions to make right now, but I think that's something to also, think about. Yeah.
all right.
I
Awesome.
will.
We have Rafael. Yeah, go.
Oh, sorry, go on.
No, I'm just gonna give you some time to speak.
Yeah, thank you. So I just sent you a message on the operations channel exactly about this. It's amazing. Thank you very much for implementing this. I'm not sure if others were involved in it, but it's quite important to have this transparency and also to motivate people to participate. One thing that I would like to ask you, and if possible, the all circles, is if we can put the messages in the same thread, so as answers or replies to the initial message. This way we would have all the conversation around that decision at the same place, because individually it can be mixed. If we have two decisions, then it will be very hard to follow. And also because depending on the number of comments, it might pollute a lot the feed of such channel. And we also have other messages to give there. But ultimately, it would be for the all circles to decide if it should be replying or individual messages, or as you mentioned, creating another channel specifically for it.
Yeah,
right.
just Rafael, sorry. Tommy, I'm very sorry. So Rafael, the Lumio itself still exists, right? If you go on Lumio, all the threads are aligned properly, right? The goal, or what we wanted to achieve, what we just wanted to motivate or encourage and just bring this where most people can see, if the journey to Lumio is too long, or the transport fare is too much, just so that people can be kept in the loop. Valid the angle as to coordinating and seeing how this can work. This was done between operations and IT Circle. Big thanks to Edwin, and we're still discussing to see what more we can do in terms of this, but we would still like to encourage people to know that Lumio is our decision-making tool and try to build the habit, to be there. But yes, thank you.
Tommy, you have your hand up. Go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Good to have you back as the host, man. You're doing a great job. You're banging it out. Io, fantastic job. But listen, there's 38 people in this room today, right now, probably a bot or two. But governance, Lumio is tied into governance of deep funding. Now, many of you might know I'm a farmer. I grow fruit. But in New York State and every state in the country of America, there is a thing called a Farm Bureau. And we have a grassroots governance system. It's one of the most basic systems of governance I've ever seen. Every farmer on every farm can put up an idea, and it goes to a county committee, it goes to a state committee, it gets voted on. If it's good, it goes to national and to Washington, D.C. Lumio is our grassroots governance system for everybody in this room. Now, most of us, I did anyway in America, grew up in a traditional mother-father dominated patriarchal type family. And we were told what to do when we grew up. When I went into the workforce, the boss told me what to do. Many of you probably have the same work experience. Deep funding's a little bit differently. We want to use Lumio as a way to listen to you, your voice, and you tell the collective, for lack of a better word, tell us where we should be governing, where we should be going, where we should be heading. CRISP is the first example of what we're discussing and how to decide. And it's been derailed a couple of times now. My friend who's hosting the meeting has some very salient points, and he brought them up at a meeting ago. And Lumio is now trying to hash that out. But if you don't open your voice, if you don't say something, then it's just the boss telling you what to do, or mommy and daddy telling you what to do. We're trying to create something new in fun and governance. But there's 41 people in the room. We need all 41 voices. So use it. It's a tool. Help us govern. Thank you, and sorry to take so long.
No worries. Great words, Tommy, and definitely would be exciting to see also topics on Lumio brought in by the community themselves. So it would be exciting to see that happen. All right, awesome. Does anybody else has anything to add on this topic? Anything you'd like to bring to the conversation? Or if you keep silent, should we probably move forward? Well, there's silence, so I think we can move forward. Rafael, I think that's your time to speak now about the community, the communication framework.
Okay,
Thank you.
so it's still me, Rafael. I get to do that as well. Of course, I mean,
Okay.
Rafael may chip in at some point. So I'm just going to put the document on screen, and then also maybe just share so that we don't. I like how I'm seeing everybody's faces. So maybe just keep the meeting the way it is, and then people can read along as it is.
Why, Ayo, sorry, before you start, there's a question in the chat from Iomi. She's asking if the Lumio is only for circle members. I think I missed that question.
Yes, it's for all ends. It's for all. You have to be a member of a circle to be there.
Right.
I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, if it doesn't,
Right.
Iomi, please unmute or
Yes,
write
Iomi,
in the chat. And,
Yes, thank you.
all right. Okay, so I already put the link in the chat, and this conversation started almost about a month ago in the channel. It was an initiative to coordinate and collect communication within the community in a more effective manner, to know what should be discussed where, or what should be expected, where. And of course, if you are on the document, which I see a couple of people on the document, there's a summary just right there. I am not trying to read to you what's in the document. I want to present, and then I want us to be able to understand and then discuss in as much minutes as Rafael will spare us for this part. Now, so there are basically four points here to look at in terms of communication types. The first one is the DF strategy communication with circles, that is DF staff to all circles coordinators. Now, why is this important, or why is this a thing? And then does this not already happen? Well, this does happen, right? It happens every time, it happens already, but we do not have any particular structure yet, or a forum specific for that yet. And And Tommy says, is there a slide? No, there's just a document, and I shared in the chat already. Hopefully, you have seen it. Okay, my light is back here. Sorry, I had to go off camera, and then now I'm back. So that's been happening, but we want to have a better approach to it. And the question is, for example, don't we do this in the all shackles? I mean, in the all hands call like this, for example, does Rafael and Yan, do they not come here and then share DF strategies? Yes and no, right? Because this event, for example, is coordinated by the event shackle, and usually would ask Rafael and then we'll ask Yan to say, do you have anything that DF wants to share with the community? And it always, of course, usually share space with other things coming from everyone else within the community. That's not a bad thing. I mean, it's where we are or where we were. But the challenge with that is that then there's a lot to discuss. And then we are forced in a call like this to decide what is most important. So you can have 10 important things, but you have to decide not just what is most important, but also what is most urgent. What then happens is that some things will naturally fall through the cracks, and then you don't get to, attend to them. And then it starts to, over time, start to look like things are decentralized because decisions were made without discussions, And so having such structured system for DF communication to coordinators gives room and adequate, structure and balance for us to have such discussion. Now, there are two types of meetings considered for that. One where it's just coordinators with DF staff, basically. So we have about 9 circles now, if my count is correct. And then every circle can have one meeting with the DF staff bi-weekly. So it means that you get, to have a DF staff strategy call at least twice a month, Now, this already happens for some circles, and then it's good to note that, and it's good to also, make it a thing so that other circles can also plan and have this going on for them. And the second type is where it's everybody, it's all coordinators, and it's DF. And why might this be important? We at the beginning, when Rafael posted the first batch or the version of this document, there were comments from everybody, right? So let me just say that it was everybody's comments, and thanks to everyone who commented and suggested and asked questions. So it was all of those questions that came into the revision that I present now, right? So maybe I should have said that first, so that it does not sound like Ayo put this together. Ayo coordinated and put together everybody's comments, and together we have this revised document. So at the beginning, it was either type 1 or type 2, but it's looking like both types are important. You can have type 1 and they have type 2. Type 2 is all coordinators with DF staff. This is good because then it's a good avenue to not just ask questions, but to also run things by other coordinators in the call. And so it's clear what it could be and what days. Now, these days of the
It was frozen for me. Is it the same for everyone else?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think he lost his connection, I guess.
All right. Should we wait a little bit for Ayo? Do you want to chip in, Rafael? I don't know if you're involved.
Yeah. I think for
process.
the talk going forward, yeah. So following what Ayo was saying, we have this deep funding circles communication, but we are also willing to give the opportunity for circles to talk in between them, right? Among themselves, without deep funding being there. So it might happen anything there. For instance, the ice break that we have here, it can go in a situation where new members are introduced. It can go in backbone discussions, which are regular to all the circles. So this would be the cross-circle collaboration and interaction part, which is the number 2 here in the document, where we would have the circles jumping in. Of course, it's totally open for the circles to decide, hey, doesn't make sense, makes sense. I particularly think that's important to have, at least at the beginning, circles jumping in and discussing their ideas and etc. with other circles. We can have circles talking to circle when they need something, but this will be a silo. And it's not good to have silos within an organization, especially if we are willing to achieve decentralization, right? Having the discussion, even if in between 2 circles, in a more open situation might bring innovation. For instance, other circle can see, this is interesting, I also want to jump in and be part of this, for instance. Okay, this would be the second format. And I'm expediting here because it's a packed day today. The third one, it's community updates and transparency, deep funding circles to deep funding staff community, staff. What happened here is we have these calls, all hands, for instance, but the time it's not framed, right? So myself and Ian or others in the team can say, yeah, I have something to say, but we are taking time from circles to tell things as reports and etc. So what we are doing is better framing and giving the right moment. It's not that, oh, in the number 1, for instance, where deep funding is communicating strategy, even task requests as well. Teams or circles can't talk. Of course they can ask, but the information goes more in one direction than from deep funding to the circles. And this one here would be the opposite, which we normally see here. Circles flowing, the information flowing from circles to deep funding for us to understand what's happening. And also in between circles, right? For everyone to know what's going on. And the fourth one, and this is very important and interesting, I saw some feedback that, hey, isn't this the town hall? Yes, it was. It's just giving the fourth one, for instance, it's just giving a structure to it. I proposed a different name, better no, let's keep it as town hall, for instance, but just to inform the reason and purpose, which is from the community to the community, right? And deep funding staff, circles, everybody is part of the community. So, but we open this for our other teams, for instance, or perhaps for the event circle or other circle to invite an expert to give a talk at that moment that is important for everyone, and so on. So it's something more driven by the community in this sense. Our other teams can have a big role there if the case. So awarded teams, for instance, wouldn't be suitable for the other 3 options that we have. It's important to have them as well in such way of communicating. Okay, so these are the 4 types of meetings to communicate that were designed. I asked Ayo to take the lead into that. He already made this conversion, let's put this way, got in all the information, all the feedback from the circles into the document as well, considering everything. And he will be in lead as well of this and scheduling the calls and also change. This is not a final version, of course, if the community still have some topics to change and discuss. Okay, Ayo, you are back. I already gave the other 3 types of meetings and spoke generally. If you have something to close.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Rafael. You did it faster than I could. That's the plus for everyone. All right. So, but I mean that's it. I just wanted to say what you just said, that we're open for more input into it as we implement going forward.
All right. Does anybody ask questions? Anything to add about this topic? I see Jan with his hand up. Jan, please go ahead.
Yeah, I have one or two questions. So what I notice at one, deep funding strategy and communication with circles, it says Mattermost channel, but that Mattermost channel is only for coordinators. And I see at the bottom of the document where deep funding staff should avoid. So I'm interpreting that as where I should not be posting or messaging. It says all circles collaboration meeting, deep funding circles coordination channel, and operations and strategy circle meeting. So I'm a little bit unsure if I want to communicate a strategy announcement, but I don't want to limit that to the coordinators, but I want everybody to know about that because I think that would be the usual case. Where would I do that?
We have the All Circles channel, for instance.
Okay, but the All Circles is not mentioned here in that document, so that is still continuing.
Well, yeah, it can be added definitely to.
Okay, so we will have an additional channel which is targeted at coordinators.
We already have, right? And you are there with the
Yes.
coordinators.
Yeah, okay. I need to figure out what kind of topics I would like to share only with coordinators and which to everybody. I think my normal inclination would be to share things with everybody and not with a subset who would then have to translate it to the rest, and you never know where it will end up and how.
By the way, okay.
What I also noticed on this first thing, it's about deep funding staff towards the circles. And there are two types of meetings. But I figured if we are, you and me, Rafael, are in meetings with all the circles separately, that it would maybe even be more the opposite. That it would be the circles informing the staff, and not the other way around, or maybe both.
It depends, for instance, when, and this was specifically more for you, Ian, when you have projects and initiatives that you want to discuss with marketing, for instance.
Yeah.
Perhaps the review circle doesn't have to be there if we have everything. So it's the time for the deep funding to discuss initiatives and strategy with the circles, even requests, right? So
But would
then
you agree it would be both ways? Because I can remember us also discussing at some point that we would have meetings with the circles, and then the circles would present, hey, this is what we're working on, have been working on, this is what we will be working on. So
yeah, this is in the type 3, which is kind of the all hands.
Yeah, but that's just 3 minutes for everybody, right? And I can imagine that some circles would just like to go a little bit deeper and have more like a dialogue around it, for instance.
The main issue here, Ian, that we are trying to solve, and again, we are totally open to change, is we have a lot to say. Circles has a lot to say. And if we get 1 hour for both to have this, we are still missing time to have both saying everything. Sometimes we go and we talk 50 minutes, and then we have 10 minutes for circles to talk. So that's the idea, to frame. Hey, here we are talking and giving our perspective, and you also have your time to give your perspective. That's the main idea. And we also have a time constraint issue, right? We can do this twice for individual circles also to say to us and tell us everything that they are doing, but then we are going to have 10 meetings or per week.
Yeah,
with bi-weekly.
let's not overdo that. Let's not get killed by meetings here.
Exactly.
I would say that indeed I might have some things to say to the marketing circle or data analytics circle, but maybe there are other circles, onboarding or operations, that I don't have any message, but I would like them to keep us up to date. And I'm not sure if the 3 minutes that we have on a monthly basis in the all hands would be the best thing. If we also have an hour with these circles every 2 weeks, that might be, or I'm not sure how long, maybe half an hour, I don't know. That's actually a good question. How long are these meetings?
1 hour. Well, that's the point, right? We can start in a way, and then we are there with the onboarding circle and say, we don't have anything to say. Do you have anything to talk to us? And then it will come. You might not have things, for instance, to talk to the onboarding. I might have, and then we would have the moment to it. But I guess we can also have another specific call for this with everyone again. Besides the feedback and dive in. I'm worried about the other topics in the call now.
Let's not overthink it. We'll have this slot with circles planned. I like that. There are a lot of circles that I don't have too much contact with right now. So to have that once, well, periodically, it's in some frequency would be a great improvement. And let's not overthink it, and we'll see organically. And maybe with one circle, it will be more in one direction. With the other circle, it will turn out to be more in the other direction. Or 1 week, it will be one direction, and the other week, it will be another direction. Would you agree with that approach, or is that totally off guard?
Actually, it's not about me agreeing. It's about the circles, right? This is mostly for them.
Good answer.
Yeah, but it's true. It's true. They can say, we don't want to hear from you, Jan and Rafael. Well, are we going to enforce that? Yeah, exactly. It might happen. It might happen.
All right. Tommy.
Yeah, Rafael, great time management for you guys and everything. I haven't gone through in depth in the whole document, but the first thing that caught my attention, and it's in the meeting number 1 type. And I guess if the circles say, screw you, we don't want you there, we would have nothing to talk about, since the deep funding staff would be setting the agenda. Isn't that a little top down and kind of cuts us off at the knees from talking about what we might need or want to talk about?
That's exactly why we have the other type of meeting where we could only hear. It's the agenda of the circles, right? We have things to say. That's the point. And sometimes we are overwhelmed or overcome with no time because we have the circles having to say. This, for instance, this exactly thing that we are passing here. Are you seeing how I am trying to go, because we have a packed agenda, because we want to hear from the circles. And this communication framework, it's from deep funding to circles, let's put this way. And I don't have the time. I would love to explain better, but I would have 1 hour call to explain better and make you all understand, but I can't because we have other things. So that's the thing. We have to have our time, deep funding, to say, hey, now it's our time to say, to talk. You can, of course, give feedback and questions and etc., but we are setting the agenda. And you are going to have your own time for you to have the agenda. And if, for instance, Rafael or Jan raise their hand, no, yep, shut up, it's our time. I'm being extreme here, but to illustrate better, right? This way, I think all of us will be able to put our ideas and pains and challenges on the table for everyone to know what's happening everywhere, right? Otherwise, we are going to still be in a situation where some topics will be under the mat So yeah, Vani.
Yeah, I think the framework's pretty good. Nice work. But I'm just a little bit unsure about number 3. As we're saying, this is the place where the circles communicate to deep funding staff. And I just think if you want that to happen, you can't maybe you can't set the agenda too strictly. And I just think we need to make sure that although it is like people giving their monthly reports, there's also plenty of space for people to raise other issues that are maybe outside of that. Maybe some of it will come out of meeting 2, where circles are talking together with each other and they might go, oh yeah, we should raise that in meeting 3 to talk to DF staff about it. But you can't frame the agenda too tightly from the top down if you want people to come from the ground up with. And I just think it needs a little bit of tweaks. You know, it's good as it is, but I just think maybe we need to make it clearer, and we need to make sure that there is space for people to raise other issues. The other question that I'm not 100% sure about is that I guess this is going to be in more or less this meeting, and it's open to everyone, whether they're part of the circle or not. What happens if you have something to bring up which is kind of internal or kind of sensitive, and you don't really want to do it in front of what's been described in the document as tourists? I mean, you know, I'm just wondering.
Yeah, well, in my mind about this privacy issue, we would have only the last one, the last type of meeting being open to everyone, right? Because it's the community one.
Sorry, you mean number 4 is the one that's open to everyone?
Yeah, the
Okay.
community-wide driven communication. Yeah.
Ah, right, because it does say in the doc that number 3 is open to everyone, doesn't it? Yeah.
Number 3 would be
Number 3, who can attend? All larger community members, first-timers, tourists, and intending members.
okay. Hold on.
Yes, because I mean, presently our audience is on the community portal, and I mean anyone can attend. You just have to register, right? So so what it means is, I mean, of course, I'm listening to everyone. I'm thinking as well. Events that we have on the portal are public in practice, right? So so it means that we are taking it off if we don't want it to be accessible to, I mean, except, I mean, people who are within the circles community. So, I mean, this is just an area to think about too. Yeah.
Another interesting point as well here. As I mentioned, IO is leading this as well, actually leading himself this initiative. So these inputs and feedbacks, it can go also directly through him for the discussions and etc. Yeah, questions and other potential issues that might happen. Okay. No, you're right. You're right, Vani. If we open to everyone there in number 3, as it's stated, then
Jan, go ahead.
Yeah, it's just my observation. So this meeting we have right now, which is similar to the third one, I think, we decided at some point to keep it open because we believe in transparency and yeah, generally we want to have the community involved in the kind of things we discuss. And there's also this benefit that if somebody wants to become a circle member, it would be very educational to be at a few meetings like this one to get a little bit of taste of what's going on, especially the monthly reporting ones, perhaps. And after that, they can make a better decision, and that's beneficial for them, and it's also beneficial for us. So I wouldn't just throw that out. On the other hand, I can also imagine there are sometimes some need to talk about something that you think, well, we feel safer doing that in a smaller community for whatever reason, I don't know. Yeah, so maybe it could be alternating, not completely have a mental picture of all the meetings right now. Or we could have some separate meetings for that. But yeah, just wanted to add these observations why we have this open for community members, and for those community members currently here that are not part of Circle yet, I would say you're very welcome. So thank you for joining us. But yeah, it's an ongoing thing. And as Fani was saying, by the way, in the chat, let's not make this too heavy. Let's start it and then see how it will evolve, and what we need to tweak and what we need to change. I do like the fact that it's structured, and that we yeah, really have thought well about who needs to communicate with who, and then also ensure that this communication happens, and that sometimes the community has full control over the agenda. Sometimes Rafael and me have control over the agenda, etc. So all in all, I think it's quite balanced. Good work,
Io?
Rafael. And Io and others.
You had your hand up, Io? Do you want to say something or not really?
Not really, but now that now that you've called me out,
No.
so I wanted to say that I do not disagree with Vani. I think Jan just helped me to state my position clearer, right? There's a reason that we have this open, and it's good, but there's also a need for maybe such meetings. And I want to say that we've had special calls, right? We wanted to do half yearly. We had special events from time to time. So probably it's always something. Maybe you can have a process where special events can be called, and things like that. I think that's something. So thank you, Vani, for mentioning. We'll include that and see how it'll go.
All right, great, Io. Just a quick question, more on my side as well, on the side of the event circle. So there are definitely some changes in the events. I could not understand if like this kind of open all ends is still going to happen, or is just the monthly report. And then the other question would be for the new event between circle coordinators, that wouldn't be organized by the event circle, it would be organized by IO, is that right? Or by the circles themselves, or how would that happen?
Rafael, sorry, I missed your question. It must be my reception. Sorry, please, can you repeat the question? Sorry.
Yeah, for the first one is just if we are going to continue to have this kind of open all ends, like the one we don't have a report, or if it's just the monthly. Let's start with that one.
Okay. All right. So we have not made that decision yet. This is the beginning of the conversation. We want to implement, yes, but I mean input is what's first necessary for clarity. And the way it is, I think the event circle gets to decide how they want to proceed with what they already do, right? And then maybe introduce how they think improvements could be in terms of what we want to achieve, right? The cross event between communities, I mean between circles, are definitely something that can be coordinated by the event circle, just because coordination is. It's also possible to look at, I mean, probably other ways to coordinate it. So yeah, we're all still thinking about it.
All right. And what are the next steps for participation? Is it leaving feedback in the document? Is it a call, or what is the idea? Or are we going to move it forward?
I would go with let's start and let it happen, and then we are going to learn from the process, right? So for instance, these weekly calls with the circles, We are going to schedule. Of course, you can always say, Tuesday is not a good day for me, or the time, or whatever. Going from there. For these bigger meetings, yes, Rafael, Event Circle will be still part of it for those that are with everyone. Like the all hands we will still have, right? In this frame here. It's not a separated one. So yes, and the town halls as well.
Okay, so circle coordination meetings are supposed to be smaller, just with the meeting?
Exactly. It's individual. So I will schedule with the coordinators and us, okay? Nothing that we would get the event circle.
Okay, thanks. Vanny, please.
Yeah, just dead quickly, I've just realised that meeting number 3, I mean, it is kind of this meeting in a way, and it's bi-weekly. And I just think it would be good to just add meeting frequency into the doc, because that answers the issue that I was talking about. It's kind of like one of them is the reporting meeting, and that, I think the agenda for that is set. But the in-between one, we need to make sure that agenda items come from the community, not from staff, because staff's already got a meeting to raise their agenda items. So I think we have to do a bit of work to like get the circles to go, yeah, we want to bring up a topic. And it does happen to an extent, but I do think the little thing I mentioned in the chat of logging speaker percentages as a way of monitoring that would be really interesting.
Van, you got it.
Thank you, Vanny. Noted. Interesting insights with what it will look if we use Read AI to log over time conversations or people who are talking.
Right, Jan, please.
Yeah, so just a small observation. For me, this document screams for visualization. I would love to have a calendar overview of a month or 2 months where we have all circle members, coordinators, staff, whatever other creatures there are. And then I can see, oh, I'm a staff member. Okay, I have this frequency of meeting or this kind of meeting, something like that. I think that would help me internalize this and understand it better.
Yeah, two things, Jan. Yes, I agree. Yesterday I asked IO to create. So if you see this table with the Monday, Tuesday, it's exactly kind of in the direction I asked IO to produce. But well, the rest is missing. I'm pretty sure IO will dive in and create this. You used exactly the same words I used, like the calendar, for us to have the view. So I will bring this up. Yes. Yeah. So it's going to be done.
Great.
All right, thank you guys. Definitely a topic with a lot of interesting conversations. And now, if you don't mind, in the name of the agenda and of everyone's time, we'll move forward. And we'll move with the 3 circles presentation on some of the work they've been doing and some of the things they plan to do. I think is Judith doing the presentation, if I'm correct. Right, Judith?
Yeah. Yes, I'll take that one.
Do you need to share screen or something, or?
No.
All right. So please, the floor is yours.
All right. Hi, everyone. So this is going to be a discussion for a possible in-person initiative organized by the 3 circles. I'll give you a little bit of a background how this came to play and what we're planning to do. And then at the end of the discussion, I would love your input. We would love your input on if you think it is worth going ahead with this initiative. So for the background, Deep Funding always had a marketing pool where proposals for online and in-person events could be received. Last year, we got rid of the marketing pool. That was mainly related to lack of quality and lack of results. We decided to, we got rid of the marketing pool. However, we kept getting proposals for in-person initiatives, mainly via DM. Jan received some, Rafa received some, I received some. People wanted to do community get-togethers or host events to talk about deep funding or have people attend events to represent deep funding. Now, Jan said at some point, well, I'm not going to deal with those proposals, right? This should be a decision made by people in the circles. But at this point, we knew that in-person initiatives are not going to be a priority in deep funding's outreach and onboarding strategy. But since there was clearly interest from the community, we decided we may not want to shut off completely the opportunity for in-person events. However, now we don't have a marketing tool, so what do we do? Long story short, the decision was made to make a little test budget available for about 10K for 6 months for in-person events, and eventually establish a committee that can filter through proposals from the community and make a decision on what in-person initiatives can be carried out with that 10K. For now, the 3 Circles group took on that responsibility to decide how the 10K should be spent. If you're unfamiliar with the 3 Circles group, it is the coordinators of the marketing circle, developer outreach circle, and the events circle. So these are the 3 circles that are mainly responsible for outreach, bringing in more people into the ecosystem, and educating people about deep funding. So this group also thought it would be helpful to establish some kind of framework for future event attendees. So there will be a framework with guidance, with some rules of what you can and cannot do in a community event, what kind of KPIs and outcomes would be expected for deep funding, and what would have to be achieved in exchange for, let's say, a $500 or $1,000 in-person community initiative, because there has to be some tangible result for deep funding that needs to be agreed on. So the idea of the 3 Circles was to test a few in-person initiatives and their outcomes so we can establish that framework for in-person events for the community based upon the experience and outcome that we would get there. So we gave the group about 2 weeks to come up with their ideas for in-person initiatives that could be done on a budget and that they could personally carry out for 1K or less. And I put out a post in the All Circles group and asked for if you have any ideas for in-person initiatives and who would be interested to get involved in the future. We then met and looked at the ideas, and one of the ideas that was suggested was to attend the conference called AI for Good, which is a three-day conference in Switzerland. That would cost around, so the initial proposal was for the one person to go, it costs around $500 to $600 to carry out the whole initiative, which technically isn't that bad. The group really liked the idea of having deep funding being represented at AI for Good. So eventually the idea came up, why don't we send more people? Which means if we have more people there, we can onboard more people and we can talk to more possible partners. There's about 5,000 attendees expected at the event, as well as about 1,000 high quality speakers and a lot of great businesses, a lot of investors. So it is a great place to be there. And each one of the coordinators of the 3 Circles, they have a good knowledge of the program, they have a good reputation, and they have shown some dedication to the program, so they likely would get good results. Either way, we decided that everyone should come back and calculate what it costs for them to attend the conference. And yeah, at this point, we needed to decide if it's worth it or not. And there's obviously many pros and cons to it. So the cost currently would look as follows. It was supposed to be 5 people going. As of today, it's 4 people. It would be Ubio, Ayo, Andrea, and myself. For Ubio, the cost would be around $2,100. Same for Ayo, cost would be about $2,100. That is because their flight and visa from Nigeria is a bit more expensive. Andrea would be able to join for about $1,200, the flight costs only. And my flight would be between 100 and 150 because I live very close. We got some great deals on hotels. The hotel is it is reserved, but it can be canceled at any time at no cost. The hotel would be about $348 per person for 5 nights. It works out to be about, no, I don't have the cost per night. It's 348 for 5 nights for one person. So the total for flights, accommodation, and attendance would be around $6,592, which is a lot of money. The tickets are free, by the way. So the flights are expensive for the people that are not based in Europe. We did our absolute best to find a budget-friendly hotel. But still, it's a cost of around 7K, possibly would go up to 8K because, I mean, this is only flights and accommodation. So there's likely some other minor costs that would be added onto it. And we also haven't discussed at all if anyone should be paid. Now, what speaks for the attendance of the event is we would obviously be able to scout for a lot of high quality proposals. There's 5,000 attendees. We would be able to scout for partners. There's hundreds of AI businesses and investors there. We would be able to take pictures for the website, content for social media, content for other communities, and for community and partnership outreach is always great to have faces showing. We'd be able to film videos with attendees, do a Q&A, maybe interview some speakers, and maybe film some content with the attendees that are going. I'm sure there would be a lot of great outcome, and there's a lot of pros for attending. But now the question is, do you personally think this is a good idea? And do you think this would be ROI positive? Do you agree with the larger part of the budget being spent on one initiative that's a bit bigger rather than several community events? Do you believe that we would achieve better results going to several smaller events and spend under 1K for each event? Do you believe that sending 4 people is necessary, or could we get equally good results with 1 or 2 people, or should we maybe send no one? Maybe you're completely against it. Should the test budget not be spent by this 3 circles group maybe? Do you think it should be opened up to the whole community? Should anyone be able to represent deep funding at events, even if there may be a new community member and they may not have as much knowledge of the program yet? The flight is the biggest cost. Do you agree with the flight? Well, do you think it is justified? There's obviously also the conversation about carbon footprint. There's so many things to consider here. So we really want to hear from you what you think about it. We don't want to carry out an initiative that the community would not be okay with. And yeah, there's undoubtedly many things that are not ideal about it, while it is a great opportunity. We internally also don't agree on absolutely everything, so it would be great to get your feedback. And while we're definitely excited about carrying out possibly this initiative, we're definitely not attached to the outcome. So we'd love to hear from you if you think this is fair. Is it unfair? Should the money be spent? Should the money not be spent? Is it a good investment? Is it not? Should the circle coordinators be going? Should someone else be going? We definitely, we don't want to go ahead if there's reservation from the community. So we would definitely love to hear from you. I don't want to be the only one speaking on it. There's Ayo, there's Ubio and Andrea and Rafael in this group. So if they have anything to add, please go ahead. And Jan and Rafael, if you have anything to add for context, please go ahead as well before we start the discussion. That was a lot of information, by the way.
Yeah,
Trying
you
to be
did some very good questions, but it was so many questions in a row.
Yes,
That
I can repeat the questions, but
yeah,
Ayo
feels
told me we don't have time to do so. I'm like
yeah,
doing a
it feels
very
like we
fast,
need
Paste
but I
to
can
break it
repeat the
down.
in the chat. Would it be possible to paste the questions in the chat so that everybody has a good overview?
Yeah, I'll
I
have
bet so.
to. Yeah, let me do this.
All right. Also, guys, if you have any questions, if you didn't understand something because it was a lot of information, please ask. Don't be shy. We have Ines with the first hand up. Please, Ines, go ahead.
Hi everyone. I think it's a great idea. I think we should move forward. Everything we can do to expand and communicate and grow as a community is a good idea. I think, like, right? It's better doing things than not doing them. So I think it's a great idea. I think the money is okay. I think everything is okay. I would maybe focus on more than like the money we're spending. I would focus on more maybe what are we doing there, because that is important. Like what initiatives are the people that are going to go? What are they will be doing there, right? Giving speeches or not? I don't know. If you need any help from the marketing circle, let me know. Maybe we can help you with creating, I don't know, content, writing things. I don't know. So yeah, I think it's a great idea.
All right. Thank you so much, Ines. Thank you so much. Rafael, you have your hand up?
Oh yeah,
You
just
had.
to complement. Yeah. Just to complement here, for the overall, I was in these meetings as well of the three circles from the beginning, where one of the topics was this discussion, and just to let perhaps everyone know that it wasn't the first or only option for this by the circles. They discussed a lot of other options as well, trying to including bring new ideas from the community, which I don't think the community suggested too much. But one main point here is exactly the members also, right? Sometimes we might receive, and we saw this in previous rounds in pools where we had marketing. Oh, we are going to attend this and do that, but they don't have the knowledge about deep funding or SNET, for instance, to go to an event like this and represent. And the crew that are here has at least from my perspective, full capacity and capability to answer questions, dialogue on behalf of JIP funding. So that's why I also think it's important for us to, at least in this trial that we are doing with a small budget, to do something that will potentially bring good results for it.
All right, great, Rafael. We have a comment also from Vanny that says, I think as long as we assess really rigorously what it achieved, not just in terms of predefined KPIs, but also stuff that might crop up unexpectedly, then great. But also, is there a way to participate in this event virtually? If yes, we should have a crew of people doing that as well and compare the results they got with the results that the in-person team got. Yeah, I happen not to be sure if there's a virtual event, but I think in the virtual event, I'm not sure if you're able to engage with people directly either, or if you're just able to watch the talks. But that's a good question. Judith, do you have more information on that?
I know that they're doing a lot of virtual events actually months before and months after. Like it seems to be just ongoing. but I have no idea if you can onboard people. I'm sure you can engage somehow with the participants, and you can most definitely, I mean, maybe listen to the talks, but yeah, in terms of onboarding people, I'm not sure how that would work online, to be honest.
Vanny has her hand up, so I'm sure she has an
No,
idea.
I was just thinking, like, comparing the AGI 24 event where the ambassador program kind of created actual online events. You know, if there's any possibility of looking at that kind of thing, rather, because obviously what you're talking about is not what I'm talking about. You're talking about just sitting in a Zoom call and listening to people. I'm talking about us maybe making some effort to see if we could create an event. But yeah, there might not be time to do that, but I do think at some point we should compare the effectiveness of people flying halfway around the world versus doing it virtually. As Judith said, just for the carbon footprint issue, if nothing else. But if we find out that it genuinely does produce more interesting and more important results, then yeah, great. But I was also just going to say on Judith's question number 2, do you believe better results would be achieved by doing several smaller community events, or, no, it's not that question. It was the one about should we send 4 people to the same event, or in the ambassador program, when they did the Panama event, I think they definitely found that there was benefits of having a few people at the event rather than just one, for what that's worth.
All right. Thank you, Vanny. Great. We have Ayo with the hands up. Before Ayo speaks, I would just say, guys, go look at the chat. We have all the questions from Judith there and from the 3 circles. So please, we would love to have your opinion. Ayo, go ahead.
All right. Thank you, Judith, for presenting, and thank you to everyone. So for context, or maybe just for further context, I want to point out that one of the things that this event does for us, or what it could do for us, is that we have to imagine that, say, Deep Funding was the organizer. How much would it cost to organize this kind of event fiscally? And then see, and then track what it means for us. For example, say 4 people to attend right now. That's one. The second perspective is that, community, different community events, under 1,000, can definitely yield good results. There are no doubts about that. We had some brilliant ideas, and things that people wanted to do, could do. I mean, I'm not sure we had a single bad idea. But then there's this conference, there's AI for Good conference, and then there is the quality of the participants and individuals and organizations that, that we have there, right there, just for, I mean, so now it's a function of how much we can do, or how much we can do. But I mean, those participants, those organizations, those businesses, those investors are just there. I put the link to the program of the event in the chat so that people can see and have an idea of what we are talking about. So I just wanted to say those 2 things. These are some of the things that we discussed and saw before we decided that it was something to present for option to the community.
Thank you, Ayo. Thank you. Abdul, you have your hand up.
Yeah, thank you, Rafael, and thanks to everyone. Yeah, particularly on this idea, it's a very good one, and of course, it's really interesting considering the nature of the events center around AI for good. But then the question of um, spending the larger percentage of test fund for this event is what I have a little bit concerned about. Yeah, it's okay and it's totally right and true that the group have a very fast knowledge about the funding and they know a lot of things to people. But how far can we measure
Abdul Basit, we're struggling to hear you.
Hello? Can you hear me now?
We hear you, but it's very low. That's
Okay,
the problem.
I will type. Let me type. I'll drop the message in the chat.
I think I was hearing almost everything. I was here with my head almost on the speakers. But yeah, it was very low. It was hard. Maybe you can go to the Zoom settings and see. Maybe you can increase a little bit the sound, or the microphone settings, your computer, and yeah, and maybe that would improve. All right. So we have also a message here. Meanwhile, while Abdul is either typing or trying to get the mic a little bit louder, we have a message from Inez. I'll read it out loud. Judith, I think is a great idea. You should probably focus on thinking about what you'll be doing there. Maybe one of the things to consider is taking the people who live closer in terms of budget. But anyway, definitely is a good initiative and we need more of this. So Inez, with the people who live closer in terms of budget, do you mean what? Like opening up to other people in deep funding who could live closer than the 3 circles coordinators? Is that it? Or is it what exactly?
Yeah, I mean, like if we want to take care of the budget, maybe like the more rational thing is like to think about the people who live closer. But like if we were trying to take care of the budget, I mean, that's what I meant. But I know there are some people interested, so I wouldn't change this for this initiative. Maybe I will think about this for maybe future initiatives, like for other events. But I think it's great. I think we should be doing this because we need to move the communication efforts. So yeah, definitely. And yes, sorry, I wanted to highlight like the importance of thinking what initiatives can we do, can the people who are going to do while being there. I think that is very important.
So you'd say that ideally you'd also like to know more about the plan. What we would be there doing to have more information on
Yeah,
this.
maybe we can like think if we could do some speech, like I don't know, Judith or Ayo or Andre or whoever, like speaking from the marketing. Maybe we can help with that, like writing the speech, or I don't know. We can think about different things, like different initiatives. You can count with us if you need us.
It will definitely have a whole strategy before we go into the event. I mean, it's mid-July, we still have some time, and we haven't had full strategy calls yet because we first wanted to see if the community is even on board with it, because if you're not, then we don't need to think about strategy. In terms of speech, it's a bit difficult to get up on stage. This is an event organized by the United Nations. They're not going to just let anyone onto the stage. The speaker application process is somewhat difficult there, so I don't think we'll be speaking on stage, but there's definitely other things that we can do, and I'm very confident we come up with pretty good ideas.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Judith. Thank you, Inez. Great topics. Jan, you have your hand up. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I feel I need to give a little bit of color to this conversation because I'm not sure if everybody realizes this is quite a landmark thing that we're doing here. And I noticed there are 43 people or so here in the meeting right now, but it's just the usual suspects talking, and many of the people that are organizing this. And I would have expected some other people to raise their hands or to give comments or to ask questions. And thanks, Ines, for your questions. You're giving the good example here. And I would like to give a little bit of my perspective here. So this is the first time that the all circles as such has been put in charge of a specific budget. Because in decentralization, you can organize a lot of things. The things that is probably hardest to do is anything that is financial based. Another background, and Judith mentioned this, I'm just repeating what she said before, is that, well, we got a lot of requests. Hey, can we do this? Hey, can we do that? And I was always saying no. I was saying face-to-face meetings, not scalable. Let's focus on online. But then I got some pushback and I thought, well, maybe there's something into that. So we decided that we would do an experiment. And we discussed a little bit about what would be a proper amount for that. And I was convinced, I let myself be convinced that 10K would be a proper amount and we could do quite a few things with that. So the idea that we set out with was, we have 10K, we'll do a number of things, we'll measure the KPIs coming out of that, and then we'll have learned something, and that will position us better for future things. So based on those learnings, we'll consider if this is something that we need to do, can do next year or next half year again. And we can also discuss whether 10K is the proper budget, whether it should be more or it should be less. Now, I thought it was a little bit funny, seriously, that we have this group of 5 people that not only decided to spend 80% of the budget on one big thing instead of spreading it over multiple things, but, and maybe this is the elephant in the room here, but I want to use this moment to make sure that everybody understands it today. These 5 people decided to spend that budget on themselves. They sent themselves to this meeting. Now, I urged them, I said, well, it's probably a good idea to present this to the community, because I would hate if after the event you get pushback on this. Why did you do it? Why didn't you ask other people? Why didn't you spend it in a different way? Having said that, I'm not against this initiative. I think AI for Good is a great event. I think the people that will join and go there are great ambassadors for deep funding. And as a matter of fact, SingularityNet is not going this year. They were going last year. And maybe that is the case for other organizations as well, because of the exchange prices of tokens and the economy at this moment. So actually, it might be really a good opportunity for us. It also fits quite nicely with our ideas to make deep funding a platform and to start looking for partners. It could be the best place for partners. So I'm not against spending this money. I'm positive that there could be great things coming out of this, but I want everybody here to be aware what's going on, what is being decided, how this is being decided, and this is actually the first time that a committee in deep funding has been in charge of a specific budget, not for a circle and the regular hour thing or that 20%, but a regular budget. And they had total freedom, have total freedom to decide on how to use that. And this is one of the, this is an interesting outcome, I would say. So I was really curious how this would land in this organization. I would expect 10 people put their hands up and say, hey, I had a good idea also. I also have a great event. Or why can't I go to Geneva? I think I'm a great ambassador as well. None of that is happening here. And yeah, I don't know the conclusion of that. Maybe you're all too shy. Maybe you don't want to be the bad cop. Maybe you actually think that these are the best candidates and this is the best opportunity and this is the best way to spend that budget. And it might well be. But I just didn't want to let this moment pass without making this absolutely clear. And you have my blessing. Even up front, I said, you are in total charge of doing this. The only thing is that there will be a moment when we have to determine how we will follow this up. If we had 5 different kind of initiatives and we saw, well, this is giving a very good ROI, this is giving a bit worse ROI, we would have more to go on. This is kind of hit or miss. If we get a lot of good results, and we need to define those good results upfront before we go there. What is success? When are we successful? If then we find out that we're very successful, well, we'll do it next year again. And maybe we'll do another thing like this. If it turns out that this one event might not give such great results, well, maybe then it's over with the budget for face-to-face meetings. So I want you all to be aware of that.
Thank you, Jan. Just for clarifications, just for people going, and yeah, those are very important questions for sure, also for the entire community. What is the best approach? And I guess the budget is not just face-to-face meetings, right? It's about conversion, as you mentioned as well, Jan, right? So if we just do a gathering,
So we had a lot of discussions in the past whether we should send people to meetings or to locations, and whether that, because usually there's quite some fee associated with that. And there were quite a few people coming at some point, hey, I want to go here, hey, I want to go there, can you sponsor that? So that is why we started this budget. So it was, in my view, dedicated to, yeah, face-to-face, on location, real life events. So it was not meant for a community hub, for instance.
yeah. But I guess it's more like, so I don't know, it's just to clarify, because if you think like a face-to-face meeting, like the one we were planning in Istanbul, is one thing, and an event where the goal is to convert people into deep funding, it's a different goal. If we think about it, like face-to-face meeting, it could just be hanging out. These kind of events, I think, are
So
about conversion, right?
what we didn't define, maybe we should have, when we created that budget, is any KPIs. So maybe we should have defined that upfront. What do we want to get out of this budget? Like new people on the platform, new proposals coming in, partnerships, whatever. We didn't. So there's some room there for flexibility. But I do think it's important to make those kind of KPIs for this specific event and for any event that you would be organizing for that budget.
Yeah, I think we understand. It was supposed to be about conversion. So that's what we thought.
I think I have the comment for it. Sorry,
right.
because of the long time, because I just observing before I have the comment about the basically, when I heard about the Judith proposal, the first thing is our leg is the first, right? That the proposal or this one is not even shared before the meeting. That's the first. This is my comment. The first. The second, about the approach, right? Because now we just consider about the face-to-face. Instead, we are not just try to approach how we if to the collaboration. Now I give you the example. We have there's the school in German. I think you know already. The name is what we call it, Frankfurt School of Finance and Management. So they have the program, we call it AI mentorship program. And next week, it will be the first batch of the program. Right? That's the first. So why we not try to approach we just collaborate with look like the school or whatever, rather than we do the, face-to-face, definitely for the conversion rate, if you go for the digital marketing or using the conventional marketing, sometimes it's not the good approach to get the high conversion rate. But if we do the approaching through put the awareness, to make the awareness of the people, especially for the newcomer in AI, sometimes you will get the same or even similar the conversion rate rather than you go for the face-to-face. Especially about the optimization of the budget itself. This
Thank you,
is my
Sally.
comment.
Are you suggesting we go to what, Frankfurt School of Economics?
Yeah, because I'm one of the AI mentor. I just get appointed last week. That's why.
You're suggesting so you're suggesting that you can go, right?
Yeah, definitely I'll go because I already get appointment from them. So
Okay, which
I
circle
already
are you
become
part
AI
of?
mentor. Pardon?
Which circle are you part of?
I missed the part of this one, the review circle.
Sorry, the
Review circle.
review circle. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to take it to the group and consider it. I think the idea that we had is that the people that would be going have been in the community for 6 months or longer. I don't know how long you've been in the community. If you've been in the community for a while and you have a good knowledge of the program, then you're so welcome to send a proposal in, to be honest. We
It's
also
okay
have
because for now I just try to to give the awareness first to the people regarding especially about the AI, and also now also regarding the funding later on, and also the singularity net, right? To the people, especially for the newcomer in the in the game, especially for the AI. So there is this one, and finally I get the appointed for the AI mentor for this program, and it will be start for next week.
Yeah, feel free to give us a written summary and submit it to any of the 3 circle coordinators.
Yeah, that's the information, Jan, from us. Just 5% only. Anyway.
Thank you, Sunny. Vanny, sorry you had your hand up, so please go ahead.
That's all right, no worries. Yeah, I think, Jan, it was great that you raised that point about this is for people deciding to use a budget to send themselves somewhere. But I think honestly, those 4 people are probably the best people that we could pick to go for an event because they really know this ecosystem inside out. And yeah, I think my only questions are if we should do in-person events, but I don't have a problem with those people going to this event. But the other thing I wanted to say about that is just when you were saying, oh, what if you bring this before the community and people start going, oh, why can't I go to an event? I want to go to an event. If somebody is putting themselves forward because they want to go to an event, to go to a bloody junket, that is the last reason we should have them going. So if somebody is saying that, if they're just saying it's unfair because they want to have a day out, no, basically you've just ruled yourself out. I feel really clear that the 4 people who are putting themselves forward here are going because they want to do some work and because they want to do something serious. It's not for newcomers going and representing this community and this ecosystem. And yeah, the other thing I just wanted to raise quickly is that, the stuff on KPIs, just make sure that we think about how we're going to measure stuff. Because some of these things, we won't see fruition for a while. If we're looking at new proposers coming in, we have to look at that when there is the next round. And if we don't ask them, oh, where did you hear about it? We won't know. So we've got to think about making sure that we have ways to gather that data and make sure that we can see whether those KPIs have been produced, if there's been a good result for them. But the other thing I just wanted to say is that KPIs are great, but sometimes the stuff you get from an event, whether it's in person or digital, you can't anticipate. And I think we just need to make sure that we have a way for those who were there to come back and go, oh, yeah, well, we never thought about this, but this happened and it was really good. That's all.
Yeah, thank you, Vanny. You're absolutely right. There's only part of an event where you can measure, or there's only parts of KPIs that are measurable with events. There's a large part of KPIs that you absolutely cannot measure because they're intangible. If you consider the word of mouth alone, if we speak to, let's say we speak to 150 people or 200 people or 300 people about deep funding, every single one of them will know AI developers, and they may go to their friends and say, hey, I was at this event, I heard about deep funding, I know you have an AI service, don't you want to submit a proposal there? So that's word of mouth. This could benefit us for years to come. And you cannot measure that. We will have no idea how many people we will actually reach with our message. It will be many more than we talk to, because the word of mouth effect is real. And then there's obviously other intangible results. But yeah, we will do our best to establish some tangible KPIs. But obviously, yeah, the benefits will be much greater than just any type of numbers that we achieve.
Thank you, Vanny. Thank you, Judith. There is on the chat by a message on the chat by, there's many actually, by Abdul. Let's start with that one, which was not covered yet. He's saying it's a very good initiative, and of course, considering the nature of the event centered around AI, but he would really like to have a set of KPIs to compare to another community initiative submitted. And it's difficult to make decisions on a personal note when other initiatives are not highlighted. However, marketing definitely requires a lot of budget, and testing is important, but on a smaller budget. So I believe you're saying that there should be other initiatives to compare to with this budget. Is that it? Or do you mean previous initiatives that were funded through the rounds? Maybe you can put it in the chat, Abdul, and clarify which initiatives you mean for comparison. And yeah, you're also saying that you want other initiatives to be highlighted. Is that correct? I think so. Well, answer us in the chat if you can. I don't know if Judith or anyone else has something to say about this comment, or
yeah, well, we have to make a decision on this because it's somewhat time sensitive, because if we were to go, we have to deal with UBOs and IOs visa. So since we need to make a decision somewhat fast, I would love to know how many people are of the opinion that it would be more beneficial to have maybe just 2 people go to AI for Good and then use the other half of the budget for smaller initiatives, so we have something to compare to. So if that's the overall community sentiment that this is the better approach, then we would really have to know sooner. So I'd love to either for you to speak up or just do a show of hands if you think we shouldn't send 4 people. We should send maybe only 2 people and then have other smaller initiatives to compare to. So
Yeah,
that
we
we
have-
at least can get a community sentiment, because one person just saying it is probably not enough for us to change the current approach. But if that is the sentiment of the community, then we'd
Yeah.
probably go that route.
Also, sorry, Roro, I know you're going. We have Alfredi Todoli in the comments with a similar one. Lean towards a balanced approach, test one larger initiative like this one along few smaller ones. So at least, Roro, go ahead. You have your hand up. I'll continue with the comments.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask for context, maybe everyone. I think I missed the date of the event. If Judith, you can share that with us, that would be great.
Yeah, it's 8th to 11th of July. So we would be flying in on the 7th and would be leaving possibly on either the 12th or the 13th. We were considering possibly adding an extra day for outreach work, following up with people, organizing all the data. I don't know, like there's doing a retrospective report, all of that. And because for anyone that thinks we're going on a vacation, conference days are absolutely the most stressful days. It
Yeah.
is early mornings, it's late nights, there's side events. You'll be working about 15 hours a day and getting minimal sleep. Maybe you'll be working 20 hours a day. This is not a vacation. This is not, we're going there for fun because we want to see the city. This is hard work.
100%. No, I totally agree with you. I think the reason why I ask is because of visa issue. So I have a bit of an experience when time is tight. I think we have 2 months here. So for Ayo and Ubio, if they're gonna apply for visa, I think probably it's a bit tight. 2 months is a bit tight, but I guess if they go through the right channels, maybe they can make it through.
Thank you, Jojo. Thank you. Yeah, I don't know. I that's a question for Ayo and Ubio. Maybe they have more information on it. But I think Ubio believes it's possible and there's some experience with visas, right, Ubio? I don't know if you can speak, but hopefully you can drop a message in the chat.
Yeah, yes.
I think
Oh, go ahead.
we are getting close. We just need to get a decision on this call.
All right, awesome. Thank you. Priscilla, you had your hand up. Please go ahead.
Actually, I was agreeing with what Vani said, but I think she has already explained everything too. It's fine. I thought they would have a slot to speak on deep funding, about deep funding to the people they will be meeting there. So when it was explained that they won't have a slot to speak, it was, so I'm wondering how they are going to interact with people. Is it with those who will be there, they'll just be walking to them and talking to them? How are they going to share deep funding to those who will be there or present for the conference?
I'm not
Yeah,
going.
it would be
Sandwich
one
bowl
by
in
one
front of
scouting.
her and in the back, and then she will walk around all day, and then have a big banner and say deep funding.
Interesting.
No, like to be honest, and from the experience, so I did a proposal for representing deep funding at the Cardano Summit, and Judith also went there. And to be honest with you, we had a speaking slot. It was a workshop. It's nice. You go there, you put the presentation, you talk to people that are there watching and participating. But to be honest, maybe it's not worth it. From our experience, going out and talking to people directly and connecting in the streets, which was most of the event, was even better. We even had a small booth as well. And I think some of the best contacts maybe were from just going out and talking to who we wanted. And the booth or the speaking event sometimes is the opposite. It kind of limits you to be stuck to whatever shows up instead of you being able to take a proactive approach and go look after what you want. So if you do it right, you can even have more impact. I would imagine they are doing it like that. Unfortunately, I'm not able to go, but yeah, I hope this answers your question, Priscilla.
Yeah, it does. It does. Thank you.
All right, awesome. We have more people coming at this time. Crazy. We have Abdul. So Abdul is saying that there were Abdul is mentioning the other initiatives submitted in the All Circles channel, I believe. So Abdul is saying that those initiatives should be compared to this one. Is that correct, Abdul? Ayo, you have your hand up?
Yes. So I find myself having to offer context and context and context. So because there's a question of what other ideas, other initiatives, things being mentioned. One of the important thing here to note was that this was not likely. We didn't arrive at this decision lightly at all. I mean, of course, it's cliche to say and looks like an obvious statement, but I'm reiterating that it was not a decision that we made lightly. I don't know how to say that other than that. We considered quite a number of things. We consider quite a number of things. But like Judith said, we are not attached to the outcome. I mean, when we brought this to the community, it was because the community should decide whether this should be done, or not.
So maybe how should we decide? Should we put a thing on Lumio and have people vote, or how do you guys think, or what's the best process? Because I think we need to move forward, right, guys?
I
Ubio,
think from what I hear in this meeting, almost everybody is in favor. I was taking account that there might be some serious pushback here. I didn't see it. There are some people saying, I have another idea, but that was already in the process. So with the feedback that I have seen today, I'm pretty comfortable to give this a go. And otherwise, people should speak up right now. There are 40 people here still. So if you don't like it, or if you really don't like it or have an issue, we said something about being this could be a consent-based decision. Now, I didn't see anybody making a very clear statement like, I do not give my consent to this. Yeah, there were maybe some people, you could look at this, you could look at that. That's great, and you have done that. So I think this is a big push in the back, we say in the Netherlands. So a big support. So for me, there's no great need to formalize this personally, but maybe if somebody else thinks differently, then I'd like to hear that.
Ubio, you had your hand up. Did you want to add something?
Yeah. I wanted to give a little context to why I think when I said this wasn't taken lightly, I think for me, how I reasoned it and why I felt this was probably the better idea among most of the ideas that we had was that I think it really aligned more with most of what we are doing at deep funding as at the moment, right? That was just my strongest consideration. I feel like events we shouldn't just go do things because we feel like doing. If there is a way for us to use one stone to kill two birds at the same time, I think we should always aim for that. So this might not be the most conservative spending, but it is the most conservative in terms of achieving not just KPIs, but also strategic alignment, right? So it's one thing to curate KPIs. Oh, we need 100 people, 200 persons, and we create an event and we can all achieve that. We did the analysis, right? $500, $1,000. We could have achieved that, but there is actually a direction that deep funding is going more. And we felt like with this new direction of partnerships, deep funding as a platform, so a lot of other things, right, that I may not be able, quality people, developers in our ecosystem, right? So with all of these KPIs, with all of these strategic goal, now in alignment with the fact that we can still achieve KPIs, then for me, I felt like this was like the best approach to go, right? So yeah, just giving us some why maybe some of us decided to say a yes to this particular idea. Like we said, there were other better ideas maybe, but I took a decision based on strategic alignment and possibility of reaching KPIs.
All right. Thank you so much, Ubio. Well, I think if there's nothing else to say, maybe just before we leave, guys, could we move it really quick to the focus group? They have a big topic they raised in the circles, 3 circles. And I think it would be amazing to maybe just introduce this topic, start the conversation, and hopefully we can continue it in the next Open All Hands. I don't know who's going to be talking, if it's Vanny, Tommy, or Ubio. Who would like to introduce?
It's actually Jan.
It's actually Jan.
Yeah, Jan will introduce you.
Boxes of surprises. Please,
I'm a
Jan.
little bit in doubt whether we should still do it, being already 20 minutes over time. I have a hard stop at the hour and preferably 2 minutes before. I'll let myself be consulted by Ubio and Vani and Tommy. Would you like me just to make a statement and then leave the room, or should we park this and go back to this on another occasion?
I think it would be great to introduce it just so it's on people's radar, but we're not going to have time for deep discussion. That's my take on it. I don't know what Tommy and Ubia think.
Yeah, I think an introduction is fine, just to, especially being that we've already done an introduction somehow in the all circles. Yeah, just an introduction would be fine.
All right. Then no time to waste. I made some notes, which I usually don't do, but I want to make sure that I don't oversee something. So over the past half year, I would say, we've been working with deep funding on diversification, and we're getting there. We have multiple funding options right now. We just started on the community hubs. So there's a lot of things that we need to improve and explore and deepen, but we are getting there. And the strategic direction of deep funding, or at least a strategic direction of the deep funding, is to also make deep funding a platform. So it's not only attractive to our own community, and it's not only being used as a distribution channel for the deep funding treasury wallet for to fund, but also for third parties. And the moment that we start looking for partnership who would like to co-fund things, or who would just like to use the platform for funding initiatives of themselves, it also raises the bar to all of us everywhere, every aspect of what we're doing, to improve our quality. So I think over the next 1-2 years, you will hear me talk more often about this topic, this theme, about how can we improve the quality of deep funding. Now, this is one thing. Another thing is that in the previous, so we started this idea of reporting, a monthly reporting session and yearly reporting session. When I thought about that initially, I thought it would be a great moment for us to share what we're doing and to share what we're up to and to share our challenges. And then maybe with our joint knowledge and experience, we can help each other and we can get understanding of the others. What I actually notice is going on for 90-95% in the monthly meetings is celebrating, like, hey, we achieved A, we achieved B, we did well, we have new members, we have a new task. So the emphasis is very much on what we achieved. And if we only emphasize on the things that we achieve, and never reflect on the things that that could be improved, let's put it like that, then it will be very hard to learn and to improve ourselves. So I would argue that there is room for improvement everywhere, including me and what I'm doing and what Rafael is doing, and for every circle, maybe some even more than others. At the same time, I'm aware that this doesn't happen automatically. There's no innate structure or drive that will automatically ensure that we every half year, we are doing better. It could well be that we start a circle with 5 people that are doing okay-ish. And if we come back 5 years later, they would still be doing okay-ish. And what I'm trying to look for, and I discussed it with the focus group and Rafael, is thinking about mechanisms and maybe processes, things that would help us to improve step by step. What are the things that would drive that improvement in our program to make sure that we're not only self-steering, but also become self-correcting and self-improving? So we had some ideas, but I'm not 100% sure if they're great ideas. So my first idea was more like a process-oriented thing, like hey, let's give circles a budget, and then we make an agreement, a kind of contract, and then we have some third party that is totally unbiased assess whether they actually did what they promised, and maybe give tips or coaching on how they could improve, or how they could improve the outcome at least. And at the same time, while thinking about that, I was already thinking, that's a lot of process and bureaucracy and very, a lot of construction work, basically. Then there was another option from the focus group saying, well, maybe we can work more on the cultural side. So not so much on the process, but the culture. Create a culture of sharing and create a culture of helping each other and also being safe in sharing what did not went well. And that will allow us to grow faster and better. And there's another thing that crossed my mind, which is more, you could say, systemic. We could try and build in some form of competition. It could be within a circle with different people having the similar task or exactly the same task and see who does best. It could be competition within two circles. We could have two circles doing the same thing. And I'm being inspired by regular economy then. But yeah, that has obvious downsides as well. So to be totally honest, I'm not 100% sure what the best approach is, but I would like us to start thinking about this. So how can we improve, and what would be the mechanism that would steer this whole program into a higher performance in whatever that means. So this means, so I can imagine that when you're listening to this, your reaction could be, well, if we need to think about how to improve our performance, then first we need to agree on what good performance is, and we need to agree in more detail what the purpose is of our circle and what the goals are that are related to that circle, short term, mid-term, whatever. And then we can start thinking about how can we continuously improve this process. So this is the background. This is the big message. So it's on one hand a very big thing. If we manage to find the ways that will nudge us towards improvement, then maybe the speed of that improvement isn't that important, but the direction is very important. So as long as we find the right direction, and we can say to each other every quarter or every half year, for some reason we're doing a little bit better than the previous one, then we're in a very good place. So I would like you all to help me and help us think about that. That could have different forms. One form could be think about your circle and think about the purpose of your circle. Make it a little bit, assess what you once submitted for the community website, assess what you submitted in the last reporting session, and think about maybe, if necessary, writing or rewriting, putting down in text. This is the purpose, and these are the main high-level goals that we would like to achieve. And if you want, the focus group is also there for you to support you and help you and guide you and coach you in that process. And then the next step, or maybe in parallel, I don't know, it could be what I was talking about. Think about what things could help us as a program or you as a circle to drive and to come into a virtuous circle where you continue to improve. And that's about it for now. In 2 weeks, we have our monthly report. We had a suggestion there on how to change it. I think it's a little bit quick to do that, so we'll have some more conversations about that. But it would be nice if you could reflect on these questions, and maybe if you're up to it in the next reporting session, already share with the rest of us what your opinion is, what you encountered, what the status is of this ideation. if you are too busy in the next 2 weeks and you say we totally didn't get to it, that's also fine at this stage. But we should get started somewhere. So reflect on it. If you feel safe enough already in the next reporting session to emphasize a little bit more the things that could be improved or where you did take learnings, that would also be a great thing. But I leave that completely to each and every circle to find their own pace and their own topics that you feel safe with. 1 minute left. I really have to go now, so I'll just leave you with this message. It's just me sending at this moment. But I hope I'm planting a seed here, and I hope we'll come back to this quite often, but not just talking, but also doing and trying and testing and then see what works. I'll stop there.
All right. Thank you, Jan. Maybe if you want to put some of those bullet points, it was a lot of information also in the all circles, that would be amazing. And I think definitely we should continue this conversation in the next Open All Hands, maybe during the reports, but even after, if you have some time to get to this, that would be amazing. Unless someone has anything they would like to add right now.
Have to go.
All right, Jan. Thank you. Bye-bye. Well, I see the silence. So I think everyone liked the introduction and hopefully they prefer to continue the conversation. We have a message from Vanny in the chat about the cultural approach discussed in focus group meetings wasn't so much about helping each other. Of course, that would be great, but it's maybe not the first step. In the first instance, is about learning how to do reflective practice. This means learning out our circles to assess what we are doing and be aware what didn't work, as well as what worked, what changed in our ideas of what to do, etc. Because often people find that quite hard to do. Thank you, Vanny. Well, if a lot to think about, if there's no more messages, anything else you want to add, thank you guys for staying so long, for the great conversations. It was really nice to have you. It was really nice to have so many topics. Please keep bringing these relevant topics and we'll try to fit it in the agenda as much as we can, because it's really great the progress we see here. It's really great to see participation increase, because that's how decentralization happens. So thank you for being here, for giving your opinions, and for bringing topics as well. And hopefully we'll see you in the next call next week, 6 p.m. UTC. We have the town hall. You're all community members, so we want you there to be in the community with us and be part of this journey. Thank you, Vanny. Well, bye-bye,
Thank you,
everyone.
Rafael. Thank you for
Ian.
hosting.
Thank you, guys. And bye-bye. Take care. Have an amazing week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.